and welcome to Your Government in Action, a presentation of Bahamas Information Services. I'm Carissa Williamson. Your Government in Action continues our series with the Minister of Education and Technical and Vocational Training, the Honorable Glennis Hannah Martin, and how her ministry is continuing its goal to improving the education sector in the Bahamas. Minister Hannah Martin discussed how administrators are equipped to facilitate students, as well as the JUMP program and the importance of digital literacy.
The prolonged closure of schools was a worldwide phenomenon, and research has shown that learning loss has been a serious consequence, even in developed states. In the Bahamas, we moved quickly to get children back into the classroom. A focus was brought to the many seen and unseen issues. We were proactive in countering the massive fallout of the 2-year closure of schools. We needed to understand the full impact so that targeted measures could be implemented in the recovery effort. Valuable data was obtained through individualized diagnostic testing of our 40,000 students nationwide. We found that 44% of our students needed serious intervention. Immediate individualized interventions were implemented. But we also knew that in the midst of all of this, there was opportunity to look with fresh eyes at our educational system. We knew that over the years, the foundational skills had become weakened. The acquired data and the legacy challenges mandated that bold decisions be made. Acting on this data, our team went into action. Firstly, curriculum modifications were implemented. In the first term of last year, grades 1 to 3, there was a singular focus on literacy and numeracy. Secondly, pullouts for individualized attention were implemented at every level. Thirdly, national exams preparation was bolstered by additional classes, virtual refresher classes, and campuses were put in intentional examination mode. Fourthly, to effectively and efficiently achieve the objectives, the ministry underwent a restructuring. We began to see progress. We saw an increase in the overall grade point average in primary schools nationally. BGCSE results improved nationally at a rate of 3.28%. There was a percentage increase in both males and females in A to C passes. Students with 5 or more subjects with C or above increased by 20.04% over 2023. The National High School Diploma saw a measurable increase from 50% to 56%. School attendance improved with the cumulative attendance rate at 91.6%, a 1.3 percentage point increase from the previous year. Absenteeism saw a significant decline of 27% in students absent for over half the year, translating to 141 fewer chronic absentees. The National School Breakfast Pilot Program served over 149,000 breakfasts, contributing to a 3.9 percentage point increase in attendance across participating schools. This year, the breakfast program will expand to over 12,000 students in the Family Islands in the upcoming school year. The diligence of school attendance officers and the recently established hotline also helped to curb student absenteeism. Report card collection by parents increased to 85%. A parent engagement unit and a portal for parents in the learning management system were established for stronger communication lines between parents and the ministry. Several national PTA meetings were held for enhanced dialogue. My fellow Bahamians, my brothers and sisters, we still have a long way to go, but we are beginning to see positive trends, and it is upon these trends that we will build and capitalize with all our might. When students return tomorrow, our work will continue with even greater intensity and deliberation. We will continue the focus on literacy and numeracy. We will implement more deliberate strategies for critical thinking and screen and place appropriately those children with suspected special needs. We've further expanded access to pre-primary by adding more classroom space and through the public-private partnership. The preschool unit is being restructured for stronger quality assurance. In primary schools, a program successfully piloted last year to promote literacy, critical thinking, and awareness in STEM subjects will be introduced to all primary schools. Academic success coaches will be posted on 15 campuses at primary and secondary levels to give support to children identified as needing support and to liaise with their teachers and parents. These coaches will, with the use of established programs, bring intensive focus on literacy and numeracy. They will track the acceleration and remediation activities with the aim of enhancing student learning outcomes and fostering a solid academic foundation. In the upcoming academic year, our curriculum review will be seen throughout the core subjects. In the social sciences curriculum, our first ever modern Bahamian history text will be introduced. Curriculum innovations include the development and modernization of curricular documents in history, technical and vocational disciplines, computer studies, swimming, health and family life, content, instructional and assessment strategies, and methods will seek to stimulate critical thinking and problem-solving skills. At the heart of what we do is a modern and robust curriculum that provides for personalized and adaptive learning systems. In a thrust to improve performance in mathematics, a math study has been launched and is underway. Students in junior high will continue to access the clustered technical and vocational program, which includes certifications in recycling, small home wiring, carpentry, small engine repair, plumbing, and electronics. And this will, this year, be expanded into primary schools. Technical teachers have been recruited and posted in schools throughout the country, including Abaco, Acklands, Andros, Bimini, Crooked Island, Eleuthera, Exuma, Grand Bahama, Long Island, and New Providence. In the agricultural science curriculum, emphasis is being placed on climate-smart agriculture technology, the proliferation of school-based gardens at the primary level, and fostering awareness of the vital connection between agricultural production and food security and nutrition. In collaboration with the Ministry of Agriculture, shade houses have been provided for farming projects in Family Island schools, 2 last year and this year in 6 additional schools. Ruminant programs will be introduced in schools in New Providence, Grand Bahama, Abaco, and Eleuthera.
The National School Breakfast Program has seen significant strides since its launch in 2023. Here's an update from the Ministry of Education and Technical and Vocational Training on this initiative that ensures that students start the day with a nutritious meal, fueling them for success in the classroom and beyond.
I want to take this opportunity to thank our administrators, our teachers, and our staff at schools throughout this nation who've worked very hard in the post-COVID period in getting children back into school. We have found that one of the critical factors in achieving these objectives has been the National School Breakfast Pilot Program, which has improved attendance across the board in schools throughout this nation. It has provided our young people with a healthy start to the day. Take a look.
The first time I heard about the breakfast program, I remember my friends being very excited.
The kids are excited about the program, and everybody said, "You mean we don't have to pay?" I said, "You don't have to pay."
My kids who I had this year, they're big eaters. So the breakfast really played an important part in their learning. I found that having a hot breakfast in the morning not only got them there, they were punctual, because if you're not at school, you can't learn.
When we look at the breakfast program, certainly we have seen an increase in attendance. These students are excited to come to school.
Our attendance rate had grown tremendously from the breakfast program.
Breakfast helped me on my schoolwork because once you have a hot meal in your belly, your brain can focus more.
Having a good hot breakfast has really improved their grades academically. I think the data really tells a story. It tells how students can benefit from having a hot breakfast in the morning times.
A nutritious meal stimulates the brain, and I am so excited to say that the breakfast program had a big, major role to play in that academic growth.
My favorite meal is tuna and grits because the tuna is very tasty and the grits is always hot.
They like the tuna and grits for some reason. So I had to try it. I'm not a tuna fan, but when I tried it, I was like, boy, I gotta get tuna every day.
The most favorite part of my job is me cooking the food and dealing with the kids to make sure they have breakfast in the morning.
So I cannot wait to see the expansion and the effect that this program has for our schools. They are going to see a tremendous rate in attendance. The students will be willing to come to school because of breakfast.
Folks are very, very excited that this program is being expanded to all of our Family Island schools.
I'm very excited for the expansion of this program because we would not only benefit as individuals, but as a country as a whole, we benefit because these are our future leaders.
Youth empowerment and engagement are critical aspects to combat crime-related issues in the Bahamas. Your Government in Action recently sat with the Minister of National Security, the Honorable Wayne Monroe, to discuss how his ministry, in partnership with other government ministries and agencies, engage the youth through mentorship programs and community outreach.
There are a number of intervention programs that we drive. So the police have a number of programs that they have running. They have the Urban Renewal Program, which really is about engaging with the community, finding out what the community needs to have done, and seeking to address it. From removing derelict cars to the demolition of derelict homes. They want to step it up to being now, when we talk about clear, hold, build strategy. So we clear away the car, we clear away the derelict homes. They want to talk about building a home to replace it so the yard doesn't just get overgrown, and so that you bring back pride of place. And so the police is very aggressive with that. The Defense Force, of course, have their programs. They have the Ranger program, which is across many islands. The young people really impress me when you see them turned out and what they can do and who they are. And both of them assist together with corrections with a program that the ministry has had to come up with, which we call HYPE, Helping Young People Excel. And that is an intervention program for the primary schools. Because when you could have somebody 15, 16 charged with 2 and 3 murders, that tells you that you can't wait until high school to intervene. You have to intervene earlier. And that's what the HYPE program is. It is a collaboration between the Defense Force, Police Force, Corrections, the Ministry of Health with their Aspire curriculum, the Ministry of Social Services through accessing their counselors in the schools, the Ministry of Education with their administrators identifying young people who may benefit from the program. And we all work together to seek to, one, give numeracy and literacy assistance to students who may need it, run the Aspire curriculum, which shows them about conflict resolution, how to be safe, and also there's a discipline component, because the more disciplined you are, the more effective you can be. And so we have that HYPE program, which we are running now in New Providence and in Grand Bahama. Of course, the shock treatment program is up again. It's award-winning. And in fact, we have received inquiries from Trinidad and Jamaica about the program because they see it. The whole purpose there, again, it's the society deciding that it needs assistance. So we don't go out and seek these young people out. Their parents come and say, we need help. And then it's a short program where they're introduced to it. The children go through the program, but we've also introduced parenting classes for the parents. And so that's important that you address the whole problem. And so that the public can know what is happening now. And I don't know if this is what's to come. This is probably what's to come. But we've determined that you have to step it up a bit. And so how do you address a child whose problem may be exacerbated by where they live, how they live, all of that. And so you bring them into a program for a week or two, or however long, and then they go right back to the circumstances. We're looking now at a therapeutic boarding school to address children who may require that. And I've asked the Defense Force Youth Development Office to look at a proposal for national service, which I've asked them to look at something that would address young people who are not in education and who are not in employment. So persons who aren't engaged and occupied. I opposed national service when it came up when I was young because I said, I was going to England, I was going to be a lawyer, why do I need to do national service? And that's a complaint that you will have. But if you aren't in education and if you aren't employed, what could be your objection to being directed to something that will let you be meaningful in how you progress your life? And there's a little bit of national service in the National Youth Guard that was started. We're now on the 3rd cohort, and this is where we prepare young people to be first responders in disasters, where we give them soft skill training, where they get internships, and all of this is, they're paid a stipend now. And the 3rd cohort is in now. And to show you what happens with the National Guard, when they were recruiting, I think that was the 2nd cohort, the Defense Force was in their recruitment cycle, and some persons who went into the National Guard, they had the requirements for the Defense Force, and they were asked, you interested in the Defense Force? They said yes, and they went from the National Youth Guard directly to the Defense Force recruitment because it was happening at the same time. There were a number of the graduates in the 2nd cohort who had an interest in corrections, and I'm made to understand they're in the corrections squad now. You don't have to want to be in law enforcement. You just have to want to serve your country, to be available. So when they had the fires in Andros, one of the graduates from the 2nd cohort was there using what he had learned to assist his community. And so all of these things will help to give our young people opportunity. But I want to say this, anyone who talks about a lost generation, as Bahamian people say, I rebuke you in the name of the Lord, because the vast majority of young people are doing positive things. Only a very small minority of people are up to active foolishness. A small minority. So we need to stop talking this talk as if we've lost a generation. That is sheer foolishness. All you need to do is look and see what our young people are doing, and you will see we've not lost any generation. You just have a bunch of young people doing foolishness, and some of them are being cloaked by parents and family and friends. And we have news for those people. The Anti-Gang Act came into force on the 1st of August. So you need to stop it. Because if you don't stop it, you will get yourself in problems, because you can commit an offense if you know this person is doing foolishness gang related, and you accommodate them, and you enable them, and you empower them, whether you're their parent, their friend, a lawyer, or a banker. Everyone has obligations now not to be involved in gang activities.
More of Your Government in Action when we return. Welcome back. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs hosted a 3-day peaceful applications of nuclear and chemical sciences workshop. The workshop is geared toward the discussion of peaceful uses of nuclear sciences for the advancement of human and environmental health. An opening ceremony for the workshop was held at Atlanta's Paradise Island Resort on August 28, 2024.
51 years ago, the Bahamas took the step to decide that we wanted to be a nation.
With nationhood comes responsibilities and obligations. This workshop is about us fulfilling obligations as a nation and also receiving the benefit of nationhood from the relevant treaties. Having taken on this job as Minister of National Security 3 years ago, the agencies that I have oversight of, the Defense Force, the Police Force, and Corrections, have taught me something that I would wish to be a template here. I was first taught by them that you must have domain awareness. You must know basically what you are dealing with, the parameters, the scope, and what is actually happening in the domain that you have responsibility for. That's the first thing. Second thing they told me is that you must, having that awareness, control the domain that you have responsibility for. Then the third thing I learned was that you can have all of the good plans that you wish, but you have to ensure their execution. In this area, I would suggest that this workshop really should be directed at all of those things, informing us of the domain that we're concerned with, concerning us with how we will control that domain, and then looking at how we assure the execution of that. That is a very useful exercise. As we continue to mature as a nation, we must pay closer attention to all of our obligations, because it is very important. We may not be a nuclear power, we may not have chemical weapons, but recent history has shown us that conflicts anywhere in the world affects everywhere in the world.
I wish to express my heartfelt congratulations to His Excellency Ambassador Ron Pinder, Bahamas Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and the U.S. Department of Energy, National Nuclear Security Admission, the U.S. Department of State Bureau of Arms Control, Deterrence, and Stability, the Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons, the International Atomic Energy Agency, and the organizers of this workshop for coordinating and sponsoring this most important event. On behalf of the government of the Bahamas, I warmly welcome you to our beautiful country. And we hope that you have an opportunity to enjoy our turquoise waters that you always hear about, our savory food, some of our turquoise or our touristic sites, and our attractions that may be of interest to you whilst you are here. Invited guests, as you are aware, the Bahamas is not, as was stated earlier, a producer or importer of nuclear or chemical weapons, nor does it subscribe to the generation of nuclear electricity. Moreover, we do not engage in the storage of chemical precursors used in the production of chemical weapons, nor do we stockpile chemicals of warfare. As a small islands developing state, often referred to as a large ocean state, which is very important, you will find out in this conference, the Bahamas is committed to protecting its territory and its people from the harmful uses of unregulated chemicals. To show our commitment, the Bahamas is now in its final stages of drafting legislation on the Radiation Protection and Nuclear Safety 2024. That bill and the Chemical Weapons Prohibition Bill of 2018, the Bahamas has engaged and will be proud to roll out both, hopefully within this year. Ladies and gentlemen, in the absence of legislation, however, the Bahamas has commenced its inventory of chemical precursors and nuclear and radioactive sources in our country. Additionally, we have implemented a permitting system to control the import and export of radioactive material, and have established programs to ensure that regular checks, inspections, and verifications of facilities that store or use radiation and radioactive sources are carried out. Ladies and gentlemen, the Bahamas fully supports the peaceful uses of nuclear technology, nuclear safety, and security, and although we continue to grapple with the high rates of cancer per capita, it is through the strengthening of our legal framework and the building of our technical capacity that we are able to ensure the safe delivery of radiation treatment and diagnostics to our people.
I wish to once again thank the United States State Department and the United States Department of Energy and the U.S. National Nuclear Security Administration for their assistance in ensuring that this workshop goes off seamlessly. Notably, this workshop is designed to familiarize Bahamian government ministers, parliamentarians, policymakers, diplomats, and as well as both public and private officials and technical personnel on the importance and the implementing the highest standards of the IAEA and OPCW safeguards and opportunities to participate in the nuclear and chemical non-proliferation regimes and the benefits that lie therein. The workshop will serve as an important forum for the strengthening technical cooperation activities in relation to chemical and nuclear security, as well as radiation safety and safeguards. As we stand on yet another precipice of our national development, I cannot help but be, I would say, excited for a workshop of this magnitude for the first time to be held in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
The Disaster Risk Management Authority is focusing on family islands with a whole-of-country approach to disaster risk management. Minister of State in the Office of the Prime Minister with responsibility for disaster risk management, the Honorable Leon Lundy, accompanied by Minister of State for the Environment, the Honorable Basil McIntosh, toured Maikal and followed up with family island administrators to discuss the concerns for residents.
We're here with the DRM Authority team along with some members from Ministry of Works along with social services to just inspect the shelters and bring some extra resources. That we had a phone call with some of the administrators and they voiced that some of their satellite phones were down and some other equipment that they needed. So we came along with it, but we also wanted to see exactly what they're going to be faced should this impending storm come and hit.
We are here at Disaster Risk Management Warehouse, where we are doing an assessment of what it is that we have in stock, what we have and what we need. Because you know, we are in the hurricane season and there are teams within the district that we are challenged with, and we're so happy that this team is down, spearheaded by Minister Lundy.
We always believe on not just staying in offices in New Providence making decisions that affect these islands, but actually getting on the ground here in the islands, seeing the conditions up front and seeing what needs to be done. And it's been a real learning experience.
Take a look at all islands and make it all inclusive and make sure that they know this is an inclusive Bahamas and every and each part of the Bahamas would get the attention. And preparedness is what we're looking after, so we can't leave anyone out, no stone unturned.
I'm Carissa Williamson, and this has been Your Government in Action, a proud presentation of Bahamas Information Services. Join us on Tuesday evenings where we bring you highlights, coverage, and information as we continue to do what we do best, linking people and government.